time.
Really nice looking fish.
Wow, that's a trophy.
That's a hog.
Woo! Nice job, you two. There we go.
Lund Boats proudly presents the ultimate fishing experience. This week on Lund's The Ultimate Fishing Experience, the early season pre-spawn movement of crappies into the shallows is highly anticipated by many anglers, and for good reason. Under ideal conditions, large schools of crappies will concentrate in relatively small areas, which can make for some of the hottest action all season long. But as every angler knows, spring weather can be fickle. Those ideal conditions one day can turn cold and windy in a heartbeat. And those hordes of shallow water crappies, well, they can disappear just as fast. When a cold front hits, they'll often vacate the shallows, waiting for those optimum conditions to return. You could also wait for their return, or with the aid of modern electronics, you can seek them out of their hiding places where few others can find them.
You know, anyone can find fish and catch them under ideal conditions. It makes people better anglers when they're forced to figure out the fish. I think there's a lot to be said about that. Hi guys, Brad Hawthorne, Joel Nelson. We both share a passion for early season crappies, and the water temp's right around 50 degrees. And last year, me and Joel went out and absolutely had a great time this time of year. And this year, we're gonna throw Joel's rod in the boat, and we're gonna go and see what happens today with some big crappies. I'm guessing with the weather, I mean, we were a little pumped about this earlier on in the week, and now kind of like, we have overcast. What do you think?
I think it should be good. I just hope the wind doesn't kick up too hard. I know I've been fishing in southern Minnesota quite a bit, and we've had some good shallow bites just blown apart by the wind, and those fish don't want to sit up too shallow when they're getting buffeted by big waves. So hopefully the wind is low and those fish are pushed up shallow and ready to do their deed. We'll see what we get when we get out there, man. That's the beauty of fishing. We'll see what the conditions are and hopefully adapt accordingly, right?
Yep, exactly. The cool part about crappie fishing early season is there's usually tight schools of them because they're on the move to find those spawning grounds, and that's where side imaging, I use it a ton early season, because you can, not only can you see which way they're going, but you can identify how big the pods are. So hopefully we can get a sizable school to show up on the side imaging today. So what we're doing here is I'm just driving around using my side imaging, looking left and right 50 feet. Like, that's the key. You never want to look too far out to where your image gets, you know, too small to see. And that's it. I find 50 feet and like 14 to 5 feet is like perfect. And all I'm doing is looking for fish first, structure second. So anytime you see a shadow or multiple shadows, you know, you can kind of figure that it's a fish. See, right here is what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I cursor over and blow that up, that shows you exactly what I'm talking about. That's a fish, that's a shadow, that's a fish, that's a shadow, that's a fish that's facing towards me. So it just looks like a kernel, and that's his shadow. So right there, 1, 2, 3, those are fish. So now I know that, okay, those fish are there. I'm gonna put a button on them. I'm gonna mark it. You see that showed up right there? And now I can come back to those fish. We can pitch bobbers on them and hopefully catch them. But that's what you're looking for when you're seeking out panfish during the early season and late season. Actually, pretty much all season. And you can see I got a couple more in there as well. Little things that look like grain or ice and the shadows behind you. With that separation in between these two, that tells you it's a fish. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, possibly 9 and 10 in that school. So all I did, hit my mark button, dropped an icon right there, waypoint right there. Now I'm gonna exit out, right? See that? That's that school of fish continuing to go behind me. That'll give you kind of a visual reference point on what crappies and panfish look like on your side imaging hummingbird units. And what we found today is it's a little windy, it's a little choppy, but we're fine. It's better to fish out of the back of the boat. Use the Altair, pin down, spot lock, just 30 to 50 feet off those pods of fish. Me and you're out the back of the boat, and it just keeps the front like a stern, you know,
right.
It keeps us locked in on them.
Yeah, yeah.
You got bit.
Yes, I did.
You're bit.
That's
a crappie,
the right
Joe.
one.
All right, Joe. That looks like the right flavor, bud.
Massive assist on Brad. He's good enough to not just watch his bobber, but good enough to watch mine as well.
There you go. I'll let you unbutton that.
I suppose you're a guide. This is what you do, right? Thanks for all the help, man.
We were in an in-depth conversation about turkeys.
The things that happen in a boat when you're trying to fish for crappies, right? He is just locked in. There we go.
That's a nice one. He's getting a little color.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful male. Yeah, starting to get black. Back here doing his gig, right?
When I scan that, there's like 5 clumps of broken off reeds.
Yeah.
And the crappies were like right in front of it. Like that micro crappie structure is all that's like keeping him pinned there.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
So this bay back here, Joel, is an ever-changing like bay. So if you come back here 2 months from now, this is weed choke. You drive by the mouth of this and go, I'm not going anywhere near that bay. In 2 months from now, there's gonna be standing wild rice, reeds, and ducks back here making this their habitat. But right now, the fish are back here just going, hey, this is good for us. It's warm, there's food, there's spawning habitat. I mean, right now, bass are up here kind of figuring out their areas. Crappies are doing the same thing. So
I love side imaging. I use it a fair amount, but it's neat to see how you, a guide, you're using this stuff daily, finds chunks of structure and cover like you just did.
Those lines, those little things that look like rice, those little shadows, those are fish.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing, you know, the technology today to actually be able to fish semi like a video game almost.
Right. Well, they're not liars. These are real fish. We are catching them right now, you know. That one gave me a heads up.
He gave you a double bump.
Yeah, he came in and just tickled it a little bit too. He is on the surface. I'm just gonna do the flip trick on him.
The flip trick? Ooh,
hey,
there you go.
He stayed with me. Doesn't always work, especially as you get to nicer crappies like these. My dad was really good at losing fish boat side. So I learned from a pro, and when you get some nicer fish, you don't want to be flipping them always, but it worked out in this case, so back you go. And say, Brad, so you guide for crappies and for walleyes. I know you fish a lot of bass too. What is your favorite to guide for? Do you like panfish guiding?
My favorite is walleye. It's walleye, but it goes with the seasons, you know, like right now, crappies are like, it's Minnesota pastime, you know, 50-degree water temps. Get back, find some, boy, I just got popped there. And find some crappies, get back there, throw some bobbers at them or work some jigs over them. So it goes with the seasons, you know. Springtime, I like crappies. We get into later summer, I like doing bluegill, but 90% of my guide trips are walleye.
Walleye fishing, got it.
I don't know what this is, man. It's almost swimming at me. But notice how like it's right there, man.
It's that spot.
Oh no!
You saw him.
So like, listen to your dad.
Yeah.
Bag the fish. Bummer. That's a huge bummer.
Yeah, there's more, man. You know that. They're out there.
The bobbers, you know, I think a lot of guys, they overthink things a little bit when it comes to crappies and fishing, you know. It's people forget about what worked, and you know, there's so many different techniques now today where a lot of them they're effective. They work, they catch fish. But the other thing is, in a situation like today, it's windy. It's super windy.
Yeah, it is.
You're not gonna be throwing a 30-second, even an 1/8 ounce jig around. It's not gonna work, you know? So that added weight of the bobber, the jig, being able to be semi-accurate too, you know?
Well, accuracy is important. We're finding these chunks and these fish, and if you're not on them, you know pretty quick. I mean, all is silent on the other end. No bobbers going down, man. But when you do hit it, it's amazing how concentrated those fish have been. There he comes.
Oh, you dog.
Oh boy. Either
Bigger?
I got some old reeds or crappie snagged up in some bottom. I don't know what quite is going on here. We got some surges though. What are we doing?
That's not acting real bassy.
Did that have a white tip? Yes, it's got a white tip, Bradley.
That's a walleye. That's a walleye.
These are happy surprises, huh?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? He's doing the same thing those panfish are doing. Yeah, springtime is definitely one of those seasons where nature pushes everybody in tight to the same
That's a really nice walleye, Joel.
Yeah, he's doing good.
So that's springtime. Fish of all sorts are using. Here you go, bud.
That is beauty.
Crappies, bluegill, and walleye using the same piece of structure. Isn't that awesome?
Look at that guy. Look at you. And he absolutely smoked it. Wow. Wow there, toothy guy. Let me have my jig back and I'll send you on your way. That's a lengthy fish.
It's a really lengthy fish.
Never thought I'd catch a nice walleye like this crappie fishing. Boy, what a beauty, huh?
Super bonus.
I'm happy about that. You know, right away I thought I'd snagged a chunk of that reed bed that we're fishing, and that little thing, I don't know, Brad, is it even as big as this boat is?
No, it's smaller than half of this back platform.
And so far it's had multiple crappies.
Yes.
The walleye.
Bluegill.
Bluegill. I mean, what's next?
Yeah, bass. Pike.
So Brad just imaged up some fish for us. It's a nice little pod right on the edge of some reeds. We're gonna give that spot a try now, but I wanna take some time and talk a little bit about the setup that we're using. And right now I've got a St. Croix Panfish series rod. Brad's got a 6/8 rod. The key is that they're a little bit longer, and that helps us with this technique, which is slip bobbering. So really that extra length on the rod is helping us pick up more line on the hook set, reposition baits, really giving us a lot of control of the bait in general. And you know, another part of this component is the reel. Right now I've got a Daiwa Fuego 1000 series. Anything 1000 or larger is going to give you a little bit larger arbor, help with casting, and then the reel is that all important line pickup to make sure that we don't lose the fish. Now, speaking of line, I've got some Suffix Advanced. It's a mono, but it doesn't stretch very much. Again, in the wind, in this kind of a situation, key to putting good hooks to those fish. And using here just a small little crappie jig. Throughout the day we switched through a couple different sizes and styles, but this one has been particularly effective. Just a little bit of a feather tail. It's a light jig, it's a 32nd ounce jig. Basically just trying to pair it with the bobber setup. You see I've got a little bit of a split shot in this wind that's helping that bobber get vertical for us. Sometimes if you're fishing in no wind, you might even go to no split shot and even lighter weights. Really just kind of do what the conditions dictate. And today, a heavy wind, we need a lot of weight to help that bobber stand up. So we're tipping it with a minnow. That's proven really effective to us. It's a little bit colder, it's still a little chilly. Those fish need that live bait coaxing, and like you've seen, we've been catching crappies, been catching all kinds of different panfish, bluegills, even a walleye. So it's really worked well today, and I think if you give it a try, you'll love it too.
Yep, crappie, 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 crappie. Oh, that's a Joel net.
I got you.
Net, net, net. Did you see that? There was a muskie that came in and tried to eat this.
Are you serious?
Yep, tried to eat this bagum. That is a tank.
Good for you, bud. Look at that.
Come here. Woo!
Yeah.
So those little teeny dots you see on your side imaging, that's these guys right here. Nice big crappies. Look at that, right back in the drink. Go back to your little pot of fish, buddy.
Holy.
Come on. You down?
Yeah, I got him.
Nice. Oh, Joel, that's a nice crappie.
It's the right kind.
That is the right kind. Your switch spots.
Yep, you got it, man. I'm gonna get him. Oh. Come on now. bottom hooked. I didn't want to stick that through my finger. It's kind of interesting. Oh, that bobber just plunged, man. I mean, we've been watching him kind of dink with it a little bit, but that sucker just absolutely crushed it. And, you know, line management has been a big thing with today and the wind. If the wind is blowing too big of a bow in this thing, you almost can't reel fast enough, set the hook enough. I'm sure on your guide trips you see it all the time, man. I mean,
so when you're casting in a wind like this, if you cast out, lock your bail, and keep your line up, you'll see my bobbers just sailing, like it just sails across. But a simple tip, take your rod tip, put your line in the water, and then pick your rod tip up. You see my line is still in the water, only 10 feet from the boat. And what that'll do is give your bobber that nice natural float instead of your line acting like a kite and pulling it right through the spot way too fast for the fish to grab it. So that's a little tip for you. If you're casting in wind, don't get frustrated. Just fish with your tip a little closer to the water, and that bobber will act natural throughout its whole drift across your fish.
that last bite, Brad, was a little bit in further, maybe a third of the way back in.
There's nothing here though. This is just fish. Like right, you're good. You're down. You're down.
Yeah, baby.
Ooh, double.
Doubled up.
We got double, Joel.
Mine's nice. I don't know what I got.
Oop. We got a couple of. We got a pair. Here's a switch.
Oh, this is a big crappie, Brad. This is a big fish.
Oh, Joel, that's a nice fish, bro. Okay, double net it, will you, please? Oh, thank you, Joel.
That was worth the price of admission right there, my man. Wow.
Yours is a tango.
We have some big crappies in the net right now.
Oh, darn.
I haven't seen a crappie this good in some time.
I think yours is a little bit better than mine, so I'm gonna give yours the camera time. Holy cow, Joel.
Look at that thing. That is a quality fish, Brad. I want some pics of this guy. Maybe we can just live well for a touch, get some pics, and get him back on his way, because I want to release this
I have
fish.
no problem with that. When this pot of fish dies down, we will take some pictures of that and put that guy back.
Whoa.
So I'm a big fan of the Lund Impact Series. They make them in the 1675, 1775, and 1875, along with the big 2025 Impact that I have. And the reason I'm a big fan of the Impact is I can get all my long rods in here. I have ample storage underneath both consoles. This boat is rigged 36 volt to keep my trolling motor going all day. It just fits my guiding needs on big water. So there's a Lund Impact model for just about everyone out there. Some of the features in the Impact that really sold me was the big fuel tank. I can go 2 days guiding on this big fuel tank in here. The availability to mount a 12-inch screen on the dash. And the most important thing for me in my line of work is a gigantic live well. So I rigged my Impact with a 200 horse Mercury Pro XS. And the reason I did that, I wanted a little bit more snort when I've got 3 or 4 people in the boat. And also, it just looks beautiful. I mean, that red with the blackout edition I did is just, in my opinion, it's a really, really good looking boat. And that's when I went on Lund Boat Builder and put this boat together, I was like, that's it, that's the one I'm gonna get. So that's why I did this motor, partly because of the color, partly because of the extra horsepower it gave me, and it turned out to just be a beautiful package for me.
So Brad, you've been guiding forever, definitely since I've known you. What made you wake up one day and decide I'm gonna be a fishing guide? I wanna do this as a career?
I didn't really wake up. What happened was my grandparents and my father, they saw me take a huge interest in fishing as a 4 or 5 years old.
Sure.
And they just kept infusing me with that, whether it was taking me out on Pelican or going to the place on Mille Lacs, whatever that was. They kept instilling that because they saw I liked it, and that's why I encourage anyone. If your child, your neighbor, anyone shows interest in fishing, fuel that fire. I'm in a career where I don't make a lot of money, but I'm doing exactly what I want to do.
Sure.
I'm taking people fishing, they're going out, and we're creating those memories, and I tell you what, it's a happy life.
That's a double.
Double. You gotta love our doubles today, Joel.
We've been doing good, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Oop, oop, oop. So if I was gonna keep fish today, which I'm not, these 10, 11s, these are absolutely perfect for cleaning up and putting in the freezer for a meal. Even for me, 12, 13, definitely anything for me, 13, 14, they go back. Those are the fish that they carry more eggs. They're great for the system. And when that fish spawns, it can literally have twice the amount of eggs that a crappie that size will have in it. So that's why I choose, for me, to eat those fish, put the big ones back, and it helps sustain these fisheries. You know, the days of going out and putting 10, 20, 30 crappies in a bucket, going home and filleting them, they're kind of done if we want to leave these types of fisheries for our future generations.
Going with a different species?
I might be going with a different species call. I hope not, because, oh,
Nice
no,
crappie.
net. Woo! This is one of those that's gonna need that bag.
Gotcha.
Come here, big girl.
Oh, scoop.
Yes. It's an awesome fish. You know what? What a fun day. We come out here under less than ideal conditions.
Yep. Finding the fish, casting those bobbers and watching them dunk, it's just been a treat all day.
I had fun today showing people what it's really like to catch fish like this under less than ideal conditions. It makes you a better angler.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information, check out lundboats.com or these other online outlets.